Welcome to Intralogistics Insiders, brought to you by SYNAOS. Explore the latest trends, challenges, and innovations in intralogistics with industry experts. Welcome to the Intralogistics Insiders podcast. We have today Wolfgang, CEO and co-founder of SYNAOS. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. Yeah, well, happy to be here.
So before SYNAOS, I've read that you have been working at Volkswagen.
Yes.
So what was your journey through Volkswagen?
Wow. My journey through Volkswagen was like, I studied in Cologne. I studied like a management and logistics at my studies, and I did like various internships, studied in China, was with Mercedes, was with Bayer in Leverkusen, so Siemens in Munich. And then I said, hey, I want to write my diploma thesis with another company, and I never was in the north of Germany. So I said like, hey, why don't I write it with VW, okay, in Wolfsburg? I saw a good topic there, a good theme there. Found somebody who was interested in doing that, and I went there. And after that, they asked me whether or not I wanted to be like a PhD student there. So I wrote my PhD thesis there in IT. I did logistics in IT there, and out of that, I got offered like a position as executive assistant, first to the leader of production IT, and then to the whole like CIO and organization head of VW. So I did that for a couple of years, and then I went back to my passion, which is kind of the merger of OT and IT, so the production level. So I took over the department for shop floor IT for the brand and group VW. And then later on, I also was responsible for Industry 4.0, like out of the IT department. So that was my journey from a diploma thesis to like being responsible for everything that's pretty much digitalization in production there. So yeah, it was a great 10 years.
The origins of SYNAOS start at Volkswagen?
Yes. Yeah, like we worked on different topics there. We were really far ahead with like two-arm robots and stuff. And it became clear to both sides that VW was not concentrating on like fostering own ideas in the field of production, on production IT. There were big opportunities to expand ideas like with the core product, with the car, with the ecosystem of the car, but production and production IT was not in the focus. So there was always the look outside of VW. Can somebody like commercialize that? Can somebody build that for us? We did a lot of research and did some great stuff there, but then doing the next step, really financing such a topic was not the easiest way. And we discussed even with the board members there and some high officials there, and at the end we came to the solution that it was best to really go out there, get different customers, get the financing from the market, but also kind of deliver that solution to Volkswagen. So yeah, that was the way we did it back then.
Were you part of this incorporation or integration of mobile robots at Volkswagen? And how was the process? What level of automatization there were?
Well, no, that was not my core area. Yeah, so what we did is I built up the whole like IT side of, let me call it Industry 4.0, digitalization in production. Back then there was still a very strict focus on hardware. Okay, so if you can't touch it, it's no good. Okay, and you saw that. I mean, everything in production was always really neat and really nice. And then the back end, there were like systems working for like 40 years or something like that. And so I was not in operative logistics, but I was on the software innovation side. Let me say it like this. In that kind of area of industry of shop floor IT, we try to standardize the information flow within the plants, and then with Industry 4.0, with that digitalization approach called smart production, like back then, we fostered like new software ideas that could enhance the production at VW, and those two worlds kind of merged, and we looked at the production of the future. And looking at the production of the future, you really like, it was very clear to us that a new software, a new planning approach could really make a difference, okay? And you had to get rid on the focus on hardware, but really kind of focus on software and the leverage of software. And that was our core belief, our DNA from day one. We always looked at software and software first, and that made us very different. And back then, I mean, you see it now here. You need a big amount of money to really building up such an idea, okay? And you need a lot of people, yeah? And that wouldn't have been like possible in that setting back then. And both sides understood that, and we left on very, very good terms. Of course, we got a contract afterwards, but back then, yeah, that was the way out back then.
For a startup to be successful, you have to be able to solve a big challenge. So what was this big challenge that you found at companies that needed to be solved?
Well, I think we are solving the biggest challenge in logistics. I mean, always compared to transportation. Okay, there's so much investment into all kinds of air, railroad, and everything is like along the supply chain is heavily invested in. Okay, but there is a weakest link within that supply chain, and that's intralogistics, because everybody is so afraid about like optimizing those hubs. There are black box solutions like AutoStore or something when you have hard and software together, but an overall optimization approach for intralogistics, for a plant, for a warehouse, there's nothing out there. There's Hey Joe and there's Excel. That's it. Okay, and this is actually where we said like, hey, this is so crucial. Intralogistics is so important. Yeah, this is where we need to act, because if you want to really bring ratio, save money, this is the field we have to engage in. And I always compare it to flights. Okay, if you fly from Madrid to New York and you take the Concorde, okay, back in that day, okay, and you save like 3 hours during the flight, awesome. But if you need 10 hours in Madrid and 20 hours in JFK, yeah, because the hubs are not optimized, the 3 hours within the flight is worth nothing. And that's the situation we have in logistics. Okay. Look at the amount of money that's invested within like the supply chain into like transportation, optimization, and all that stuff. But nobody really invests within the like warehouse, like overall optimization approach, or like a factory, something like that. We were pretty much the first ones like tapping into that field, okay, getting rid of Excel and Hey Joe. And I think this is a very crucial field in the industry, and we are really pushing the industry there and changing the industry.
What are the main KPIs that your customers look for when trying to implement a solution like yours?
Well, I mean, of course, it depends whether or not you're logistics or you're in production, okay? But overall, you bring material to a location and you take products from it, yeah? Or you bring packages or goods to a location and you bring it, you take them again in a different like sorting or something from that location, and you have to do that in the most efficient way, okay? And I mean, our DNA is the automotive industry, yeah, and the high process quality in automotive industry. And when you look there into the body shop, okay, and you say like, hey, like the Rob person's like body shop is automated, they're automated, yeah, no problem. You see all those robots and doing it, and then a tenth of a second is orchestrated, perfect. But look around, look at how logistics is working. They're going with like tugger trains or forklifts with 60% usage rate. So there's still so much to improve, and this is why we really thought, and we said like this is the first and single kind of thing we want to tackle. At the very beginning, we also thought and implemented a solution where we could do both, like optimize production, scheduling, and logistics. This is kind of the Champions League, but we pretty quick realized that we have to focus on one area to be really best in that area, and this is intralogistics optimization, intralogistics steering, so forklifts, mobile robots, humans, and the infrastructure, everything together.
How do you improve the operation with humans?
Well, how do we improve?
Yes.
Yes, like for example with our e-commerce customers. Okay, so it's of course it's not like that we sting the humans to run faster. That's not it. But the work and the distances a human, for example, in picking has to travel, okay? This is something we optimize with our e-commerce customers, okay? So they're more efficient in their work. They don't have to run as long to pick a basket, something like that. Or, for example, with our automotive customers, we have a automated tugger train, okay? But the couplings and decoupling process is still done by humans. So we implemented an app that helps the people, we call them line runners, to be on the perfect position at certain points to decouple and couple those tugger trains, for example. So this is how we incorporate the human. Or now with like our forklift guidance, yeah, where we help humans to finding the best possible kind of way to deliver goods with a forklift, and of course saving a lot of ratios there as well.
During the last years, especially after we have had COVID, we have had wars in Europe, supply chains have struggled a lot. It's difficult to get a car and not get it like in 12 months or 8 months. Are companies now aware of the importance of intralogistics?
Well, the market is maturing. Yeah, I would not say that they were not aware of importance of intralogistics before. Okay, because there was always the struggle for ratio for improvement. But the tool set is just a different one. Okay, so over the last 10 years, like software just enables you to do different stuff on the intralogistic level. Okay, so I would say like 10 or 15 years ago, cloud technology computing power was not there and was not as available and was not as liked and accepted as it is today in the market. And with that new kind of technologies that come in, you can do totally different stuff. Okay, so we have scenarios, for example, with our I can talk about that at Volkswagen commercial vehicles in Hannover, where we calculate like 200,000 to 300,000 solutions per second. Okay, where we always look, is this the optimal setting, or is there a different setting, not a local optima but a global optima? And then you have new like parameters coming in. Somebody steps in front of a robot, something breaks, a position is available now, a traffic jam was dissolved, and we are always calculating the optimal solution. This helps us to like reduce like resources needed by like 30 or 40%, for example, in that case. So this is really a really big leverage you can do with software now. Okay, there are layouts where like we are steering big fleets today that would have been possible with like a software solution from like 10 or 20 years ago, because the space is just not enough there, and you would have had like a different traffic management. It would have worked, and now we can do it, and we can optimize those facilities, those locations.
You have mentioned all these calculations that you run to get the optimal path. One of the critical things for those companies is the predictability. Not that much the optimization itself, but to be predictable and to be consistent. It does not go against it to have all these chances of different options?
Well, first of all, this really varies from in the industries, okay? The more optimized and the more high performance your intralogistics needs to be, the less like flexibility or the more predictability is wanted. Okay, so if you have a small e-commerce kind of warehouse, people are way more interested in just putting in AMRs, and we can set them up in one day, and they drive around, and we have a first solution. Everybody's happy. You can't do that in a high performance intralogistics environment. So when we calculate those solutions, it's not about like a crazy traffic management or like passing standing cars and everything gets kind of wild and they bump into each other. This is not the way we are optimizing, but we are optimizing the links between orders and resources. Okay, and just let me give you an example. So in the biggest implementations we have around like 100 source sync relations, okay, in one installation, in one, for example, final assembly. And we can like provide like the level of service needed with like around like 100 or 110 robots. Okay, so we only need 1.1 robots per source sync relation. Okay, in all scenarios they were like fixed 3 or 4 robots in one rotation, because they always had to be like equipped to the maximum resources that could be used at any point of time. But we can shift those resources, because I see like, oh, I have 5 minutes here to finish that order, but I really need a robot over there. I just send it over there. And this is what we're optimizing in every second. Yeah, like which robot does which order next, and what is the optimal distance, and where should he drive, because we're looking forward in our planning as well. I know in 10 minutes there will be a robot available over there, so I send it over there. So this is what we're doing. This is really leading to those huge savings in like 40-50%. Yeah,
automotive is a very well established industry with very well defined processes. What do you think are the key learnings that other industries could learn from automotive to increase their operational efficiency?
Yeah, so automotive is very far ahead in the comparing industries regarding like a high performance intralogistics. Okay, and they had problems a couple of years ago, yeah, that were that other companies are having now. Yeah, so multi-vendor, multi-hardware installations. Okay, where you have like crossing path of different robots of different manufacturers. Okay, this is total commodity in the automotive industry with some players, okay, since years, okay, and now we see the market is maturing and more people getting that problem, okay. So this is something you can learn from the automotive industry. Looking at SYNAOS and our journey is, yeah, we really want to be on the whole automotive journey from our customers, okay, and they start often in a manual world, okay. Then they switch over and say how we have to automate, okay? But how do they start automation? They say like, oh, I have like 2 source sync relations over there and the other part of the factory, and they just automate those, okay? And they can operate totally independent from each other, and you have forklifts in between, and nothing is happening. And then you do another step where you have like now like overlapping routes of robots and stuff. And this is where you really get into a world where the automotive industry is already since a couple of years, and other industries really are tapping in as well. And we at SYNAOS really want to do that whole journey, yeah, from that manual world over that isolated automated world into that very complex automation world for intralogistics. And this is all about software. We talked about software first, but this is the key to that is software. If you make a decision too late or the wrong decision for software in that process, you have huge costs at the very end, because then you have to switch everything. And this is really a mindset, and this is something you can learn from big, let me say, automotive industry or even tier ones we have. They make a very, very early the right decision regarding architecture and software, because they know, okay, this little use case here doesn't need like a central fleet management solution perhaps, but I know I want to scale. I know I want to put in other processes in a couple of months or a year or something, and let me do the right decision now. Yeah, and this is something that you can really learn from those industries that are ahead of the market right now.
Right now, I understand you have been playing with these big players in automotive and other industries. You have been directly supporting them to integrate your solution. However, in other industries with mid-sized companies, most of the work today is being done by integrators, right? They say that one of the most important things when integrating mobile robots and intralogistics is to define very well the application and to be able to solve it. How is SYNAOS adapting to that scenario from the big automotive to the medium-sized companies?
It's big automotive to medium-sized, and it's Europe to the rest of the world as well, or Germany to the rest of the world as well. You're right, like the big German automotive industries, they're not really relying on integrators like other industries or other continents or countries are doing so. So there was a curve or learning curve for us as well, and it was important because we decided very consciously that we want to be integrating our own solution at the very beginning, because we had the direct contact to the customer. We understand and understood what was the problems, how do they use our product, what is the process of commissioning and stuff like that. So that was very important at the beginning, and we built up our own team. But now, since we are in a phase where we now scale, we are looking more and more into partners and integrators. And this means we have to shape our software in a way that they can use it. It's easy to use for integrators. We have to make our knowledge available to our partners and integrators. So this is a journey we are doing, and we're seeing like smaller companies don't have as much, as you said, not as much like own know-how, so they buy it with integrators. Or in the US, integrators are kind of the key there. They all work, even the big ones work with integrators. So we're opening up there. We are working on partnerships. We're working together with integrators. This is a journey we are on actively, and we have our own team like working with integrators and bringing knowledge to integrators, so that we are really working on that topic. It's very important for us.
What is the strategic mindset that a company of the future will need to win this market?
I think you really have to be, and they really have to be aware on their strength and on the weaknesses, okay? I don't think there will be that one like big company that offers everything from the back-end software towards the best hardware for all use cases, okay? So specialization in that growing market is for me like a key feature, okay? And this is why, for example, this is why we have integrators as well, okay? Like I don't need one company that does everything from hardware, software, integration, all of that. No, you're being a good integrator. That's a different role from providing the hardware or bringing in all the process knowledge or doing back-end software. So specialization is very important. And this is why the VDA 50/50 is so important. The VDA 50/50 for me is not like a technical interface, yeah? This is part of it. But the VDA 50/50 is a leverage to professionalize the whole industry, okay? If we want to leave a world where we talk about 100 robots there, 100 robots there, and come into a world where we would talk about 10 or 20,000 robots there and there, this is where we want to go, okay? Then we need specialization, we need standards like the VDA 50/50, we need clear roles and clear responsibilities, and this is something that's super important for the players to really know which kind of role they are playing in that new intralogistics market. And from my understanding, even the big players, they're having problems. They're like understanding what they are standing for, okay? They're making their huge margin, their huge part of success coming out of the hardware, okay? And it's so tough for them to switch their focus on automation, on software. But looking into the future in 10 or 20 years, I mean, I'm pretty sure what's going to be the dominant part of that industry, okay? What's going to be commodity and what's going to be a key DNA, key value for those companies. And it's really hard for those big companies which are so hardware dependent to switching their mindset. And I talk to a lot of people from the industries. A lot of them are trying it, but it's not easy. So this is our advantage at SYNAOS, since we are young, our DNA is software from the beginning, and we have that clear defined role of providing back-end software with a clear vision of separation of hardware and back-end software from day one. So this is why I think we are a very good setting there.
You mentioned VDA 50/50. Does VDA 50/50 have everything that we need to achieve full true interoperability, or are there any missing steps?
Well, there are missing steps. Nothing is perfect, and I'm part of the VDMA working group and board member there for that topic. We have to work on stuff because there's still like things you can interpret with that standard, and we are now introduced the LIF standard with like where we exchange maps in a more standardized way. So there is a step for step development for that, and we have to push it. But hey, that's on the market for a couple of years, yeah. And I remember myself being at the big fairs like a couple of years ago at Logimart, and at the beginning for 3 or 4 years, nobody cared about VDA 50/50, yeah. We were going around like selling it like old milk in Germany, yeah. Like, do you know VDA 50/50? Or do I need that? Why do I need that? And now we people are coming. They're super well educated. They're understanding the dynamics of the market. They say like, how can I put in my specs? And I don't even need to educate you about VDA 50/50. Yeah, I know what you're doing. We need something like SYNAOS is offering. Yeah. So there's a huge development there. And of course, VDA 50/50 has to develop, but there's a big push already in the market. And you're looking at other regions in the world trying to establish a standard like VDA 50/50. It's not easy, yeah. And I think we're doing a great job here with the VDA 50/50. That's really, yeah, a lighthouse in the market, yeah. And it's standing for more than just a technical integration of hardware and software. It's standing for the professionalization of the whole market. That's the key, okay? Again, not 100 robots, 10,000 robots.
What do you see as the biggest opportunities for optimization of intralogistics inside factories?
The biggest opportunity?
Yep.
Just the like what I said, what we're doing with optimization, like with our it's an AI approach, but it's not like large language models. It's mathematical optimization. Yeah. So what we are doing, the optimal usage of the resources we have at hand, okay? The less resources you need to solving a like interlogistic task, okay, the better it is. You have less time consumption, space consumption, you have less energy consumption, your traffic is way easier. So this is using the resources you have, you know. Also the human resources, because there's a lack of human resource in interlogistics. I don't have to tell you, but there's not enough drivers, you know, that want to do night shift, that want to be there at 3 a.m. And Monday morning, yeah, starting their shift, driving a forklift. So using those resources in the best possible way, yeah, and the best combination of humans and automation. This is the biggest task in interlogistics. Okay?
Companies that are using different brands of AMRs today, what are they doing to solve it?
Well, do you especially that said AMRs?
Or AGVs.
Okay, yeah, well, because having two fleets of AMRs, they will dissolve each other. They will standing in deadlocks and you can't use them, you know? Yeah, but say again, what they?
Yeah, companies that are using like different brands of AGVs.
Yeah, and AMRs, yeah.
And AMRs. How are they solving this problem? How are they running them?
Yeah, well, this is exactly what I said before. They started with isolated solutions. We see that so often, okay? They're having perhaps like a black box installation in one part of the factory or the warehouse, and they say, hey, we have high rack forklift there, and then we have pallets move over there, and then they're growing, and they say like the CFO comes and said like, hey, great ratio, hey, I don't want to own 3 and 3, I want like 15 and 15, and you say like, yeah, of course I could do that, but hey, then they will interact, you know, I will have like intersections where they cross, they're driving on the same route system, and so on, okay? And then you're having a problem. And then, I mean, we see it with so many customers. The thoughts are always the same. They say, can't I just like take the one fleet management and the fleet management, let the fleet management talk, and they try that for 2 years and it doesn't work because a lot of people in the industry tried that. That's just not working. And I said, we just have to get rid of it. We have one solution. And then they're ready for something we are offering, like a full-blown overall interlogistics management platform that is orchestrating everything. And this is like a learning curve a lot of companies are going through, okay? Because they're doing automation there and there. And it's important because people have to get used to software and to the hardware and automation and the software included, but they often kind of automate in a for us in the wrong way because they're just looking at the islands and they're not looking where they're headed with the whole process. And this is kind of where they then afterwards often have to switch, you know. And yeah, I could really name you 10 even big customers. I won't, but name you the names, but 10 customers that had exactly the same curve. Automated, then they try to build their own solutions. They try to bring the forklifts together. Then they put in like a traffic light system and stuff for the first intersections, because you can do workarounds like that. You said like if one AGV from that brand comes, the traffic light is always red for the other one and just go through. You can go to 6% or 70% optimization level with that. But if you really want to take the real optimum out of it, and or if your fleets are increasing, you can't do that with this kind of solution anymore. And then you have to have the real like full-blown platform like we are offering, and this is the way they are going. And the awareness process is just on different levels there in the market, but overall maturing.
This podcast is brought to you by SYNAOS, the all-in-one intralogistics platform, orchestrating material flows with mobile robots, forklifts, and people to overcome cost pressures and skilled worker shortages. Visit synaos.com to learn more. It happens in all aspects in the industrial world. There are like different archetypes of people, especially in management. Some will say, this is very important for us, let's make our own. So there is this is DIY versus buy in the industry. Why they should decide to buy instead of DIY?
Yeah, because DIY is not DIY. I'm doing like kind of a prototype or a POC for 500,000 euros. DIY is a 2-figure million euro investment, and I would say if you can build up that knowledge with your own a company, and there are companies out there that are heavily investing. They say like, oh, okay, and we buy a company for 500 million. That's our core knowledge, core IP. We want to have that in-house. Yeah, but if you're heavily investing into that and you see the value in it, you can do it. But 99% of the companies out there don't think that way, okay? And they're not willing and they don't have the resources to invest so heavily into that, okay? And therefore, there are companies like, I mean, how many companies are doing their own ERP system? Okay, there are companies out there having their own ERP system, but hey, if you don't really are not really committed to that and you don't have like really deep pockets, I wouldn't kind of recommend like developing your own ERP system. And that's going to be the same with intralogistics. You can do it. People done it before, but hey, this is a long journey. Let me say that this is taking a lot of resources, a lot of knowledge to building up something like that. Send them my direction. If you meet people, send them my direction. I will.
I know companies that have been developing their own communication protocols. You know.
I know. Yeah. and, yeah. Of course. And like I said, when you have a founder who's like totally convinced and something, but the bigger the company and the less clear DNA a company has, yeah, and the more like you have change in management and stuff like the less continuity you have in that and something like that. The more difficult it becomes to invest in something like this. Okay, it's just if a new CFO comes and says like, hey, I have to save money, and like we 50 million per year for like our own like interlogistics software solution or ERP system. Why no? We can buy that from SAP or something. Yeah, then it's gone, and then it's everything you invested into it's gone. So you really need a clear long-term strategy to do something like that, and only little of the companies are in position to do so.
Intralogistics is very linked also with the processes you mentioned at the beginning. Companies invest millions and millions in machines that can cut metal faster or that can bolt screws faster, but it doesn't matter if they're waiting for the materials for half an hour, for example. Is SYNAOS integrated in some way? How do you know the signals, for example, when the machine has finished processing some goods and they need to be moved to the next station or to the warehouse?
Mm-hmm. Well, this is something I said at the beginning of our talk here is, in an ideal world, in our first vision when we were still like very like research dependent or very close to research, we said like you have to optimize both. You have to optimize the production part, the scheduling part, and the intralogistics part, and bring that together to a global optimum. Okay. So this would of course be like the ideal solution, okay, to schedule the production in a way that you have optimal intralogistics linked to it, and then you have a global optimum for the whole production side. Today it's just there could be different things. You just say like, okay, the machine opens the gate, we get that signal, or somebody pushes a push button, and we know we can pick up stuff or drop off stuff, or you have a sensor on like from a sensor hub provider and says like, okay, that place now is empty. That means you have to bring new stuff or pick up the empty orders. So yeah, this is the way we are communicating right now. We're not involved into the scheduling of the machines.
So are you partnering with some accessories provider, for example, to to integrate that into SYNAOS software?
Well, we are partnering with like sensor hub providers, like for example, like where we have like, a couple of providers that offer us like solutions we can implement with our customers to like getting all the information which like position is available or where do we need to deliver stuff, but not with like machine providers, not yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I'm just putting an example, if you have a PLC, how does it communicate, or does it communicate with SYNAOS software to let it know that some pallet is ready to be moved somewhere else?
Well, like I said, there's a lot of different kind of ways to get those signals, but we're getting those signals. I mean, we have integration to machines, like we have a standard protocol to interact with machines, to getting like machine information, whether or not this is accessible or not accessible, but not the scheduling part. That's what I said earlier. Yeah.
Okay, that's clear.
The market is developing. I really see that the market is maturing, and then you guys are doing a lot of like industry interviews and stuff. I think you can state that as well, that the market is really developing, and maturing. Wouldn't you say?
Yes. But do you want me to ask you?
No, I'm asking you.
Well, the market is growing like crazy, and everyone is into this intralogistics market right now, trying what is the next big thing.
So what is the next big thing from your direction?
What I've been hearing, for example, is right now some companies are selling that you can integrate an AMR. You just get a box and it works. You know, the reality that people is facing that this is not real. You have to analyze very well the application, to analyze the process, to find how you really solve this application. Now with the upcoming AIs, people is expecting for this to be more and more real. That commissionings, that installations, that being able to implement AMRs and applications should be as easy as I need to do this from this to this, solve it.
We did first test with that as well. We tried to kind of implement AI, so cobots and large language models into our software to really like access the knowledge easier and to use it in commissioning and stuff. So it's still a task, but I think this could be a really big development. And then of course that whole like human robots, cobot stuff, you know, that whole development you've seen at the big fairs and stuff. This is a big development as well. And I'm still like biased from my experience out of the automotive industry, and I think a little bit out of my European and German perspective, because I always see the shortcomings of such solutions and the security reasons. But I mean, of course, with new AI solutions and the development of robotics overall, with mechanics and everything, this is a field that can be really, really interesting in the future. You know?
From the news that I've seen, BMW, I'm not sure if it's with Figure or 1X, they are already implementing humanoid robots. Maybe it's for marketing purposes. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, you see use cases, but you never see like the surrounding. Is it caged somewhere? You see it. I mean, I know all the tricks, you know, and I see like in German we have the Berufsgenossenschaft, which is responsible for security, you know. And then if you grab something sharp and you're like working above 1.60 m, it could hurt your throat or something. You have to move really, really slow and stuff. So there's so much regulation. But like I said, this is the German European perspective, and we are kind of always very in a very critical way on automation and stuff. And people are getting like fear when they see a human robot, but there's different cultures where they're way more open regarding that, and I think this could be a huge leverage as well, you know. And when I saw that robot, for example, at Hannover Fair, which was working for like 10 hours and
agility, or
and I remember, but it fell over at the end, you know. Agility. Yeah, and people like, look at it. Hey, give those guys like 6 months or a year, and then gonna work like 20 hours, and in 2 years gonna be like 100 hours without stopping. I mean, this is something that's a big development, and this will come for sure, I think.
But the complexity will go up if we have humanoid robots, mobile robots, people, forklifts. The problem is getting bigger and bigger.
We need a platform to orchestrate all of that, you know. Yeah.
Are you ready for that?
Well,
or do you see any challenges that are bigger than what you have right now with, for example, the introduction of humanoid robots?
Well, are we ready for that today and implement? No. But hey, the approach we have and the software building, you can deal with that as well, okay? Because we have a modern SaaS, cloud-based software that can handle huge amounts of robots to orchestrate them. And then, I mean, I don't care if the robot kind of walks or drives a distance and does a task, but safety is always on the robot, and this I think is the biggest part. Okay, so it's the same today. If you step in front of the robot, I mean, we are orchestrating from a cloud, for example, in doing the fleet management in Ireland, for example. Okay, and VDA 50 is a asynchronous protocol. Okay, so there's a lack of latency, I think is the English word for it, in between. Okay, so you can't do any safety operations from the back end. Okay, so everything has to be safe on the robot. You step in front of the robot has to stop. Okay, if you are interacting with a humanoid robot, it has to stop. Okay,
it can't stop.
And
it can't. When you have a mobile robot, you can deactivate the motors, and it's fine. With a human robot, if you deactivate the motors, it's a safety hazard. Well, it just falls to the ground.
No, I mean, there's probably a lot of super smart engineers working on it. But I can tell you something. Like I said, back in my VW days, okay, and I think about 2015, okay, we implemented a ARM cobot, was still stationary at that time, but we put it on a mobile platform afterwards. It was 2 KUKA EVA arms, which we put virtual skin over it, and it was working around me. I could do I give orders to them. It would hand me stuff. And I step into it. It would work around me and stuff. And that was 2015. We are now 9 years later. I mean, you can really make that safe as for sure. You know, of course, if you don't have to deactivate it to interact with it. You know, that's what I mean. You know, there's a lot of things coming up, I think.
So AI is changing a lot of stuff around us. Yourselves, you tested AI. My question is, how can we trust, thinking about large language models specifically, how can you trust an AI that you actually don't know how it works? We see the results, but we don't know what's going on inside.
I'm just thinking about why do we have to trust it? I mean,
how are we going to be able to trust it? Oh, maybe we don't have to trust it. It's something that can help us, but maybe we never should trust AIs.
Well, I think this is a general society problem, because when AI is working with your filtering your news or something, this is way more scary and more important than if you interact with a robot or a system in logistics, okay? And the system tells you what to do or something. You don't need to read manuals or something, or you can interact with our platform and say, where's the problem, or how do I solve the problem, or have you ever seen such a problem? What can we do? Stuff like that. This is how you can interact with our software at some point in the future, okay? And I think there's a trust issue is not as big as in other parts of society. Okay, so for me personally, I don't see the problem in logistics. I see the problem in other parts of where AI is kind of really changing way more. Let me say
it's funny, but people has difficulties trusting robots. For example, on the street, you see in California, for example, people just burning self-driving cars, but we trust people, which we don't know how they work, right?
Yeah.
But for robots, it's way more difficult for us to trust them.
Yeah. My angle is that if I trust a self-driving system, okay, my life is at stake, okay. If I trust a cobot, a large language model or something in intralogistics, that's not. I mean, you have safety reasons, but safety is solved today, okay? So this is, I mean, I don't see the trust issue as big in intralogistics than in other parts, like I said.
No, it's true. My question is more philosophical. Why do we trust a driver, for example, from a taxi, and we have so many difficulties in testing the FSD on a car?
Yeah, well, this is a very good question, because with our customers, we're having like, they're complaining about like their automated intralogistics, saying, "Oh, this didn't work, and we had like a 1 in a million deadlock there, and blah blah blah." Yeah, but said like, "Hey, look at your manual intralogistics. Yeah, look at that." They always forget. They invest, and then they remember back and say like, "Everything worked out perfect." No. Like you have like your usage rates are like 50% of the resources. You have traffic jams. That people are doing whatever they want. They drive wherever they want. They bump into each other. There was so much bad stuff going on, but you forgot about all of that. Okay, and we have that question with our optimization approach. Okay, we call that AI as well. But like I said, it's not a language-based model. It's not machine learning. It's a mathematical optimization. Okay, it's just heuristics and meta heuristics we are using there. And that was the question where I said like, why is that robot not driving there, and why is it not going to the energy station? So like we have having those discussions, and we're adapting our software in that regard, that we're really making like all the information we have available to the user. Okay. First of all, our approach was more like we are kind of orchestrating it in a black box, and nobody really needs to care about. But we learned like people really want to understand why are they now going that direction? Why can't they go into the intersection? Oh, because there's a virtual kind of blockage already because somebody else is coming. Stuff like that. So we make information available and do it as good as you can, but you can't do it 100%.
This is one of the things I see. One issue with your software.
Okay.
And is probably with manual operations, they were not measuring stuff. And now they will see it if they implement your software. And now they will see the issues that are on their processes.
Yeah.
If they have problem with manual labor, that person can maybe don't say anything, or maybe with another coworker, they fix this manually day after day after day, and they'll never realize they have a problem. But now they will start measuring it.
Yeah, this is, of course, this is transparency, and transparency is not wanted from all participants in that process, because then lower management level don't want like those transparency to go all the way into top management, for example, because they have shortcomings in their processes. This is, I mean, implementing automated intralogistics is a big change process. Like you said, you have to build up trust. You have that issue that people feel they are taking our jobs away. Okay, so they bump into the I mean, we had cases where we were called from our customers, and they said like, hey, we had a traffic like accident, yeah, and an AGV drove into our forklift, for example. Okay, and we said like, yeah, sorry, we feel sorry for you, but it's not our problem, because since we are not responsible for safety. But let's have a look into the log files. Okay. And we looked into it, and the HV stopped, and like 15 seconds later, we got the impact. So what happened? This guy put in reverse and drove into the robot on purpose because he didn't like it, At the end, it turned out it was that way. It could have been a normal accident, but it was that way. And so it is a big change process. You have the humans. You have different role of software. You have that uncertainty about the optimization. Okay. You have to interact with robots. I mean, this is a big change, and this is why it takes quite a long time. And this is why, I mean, the industry is exploding, but it took really longer than we expected at the beginning at SYNAOS, because we came out of a very progressive kind of industry and company, which was very far ahead in the industry, and other ones are still working on other levels.
In automotive, talking about automotive, when you are, for example, with driving assistance, now there is a trend towards scenario-based testing, to be able to see real operation, to find out where the problems are in real life. From what you mentioned, this could be also something very interesting for fleets of robots, for example. You mentioned you did like a forensic analysis of what happened there to find out. Mm-hmm. Is this something that it's common to do this analysis of failures and find out what's going on wrong, to predict maybe the future, to solve it?
Yes, we have like people we have quite a lot of customers, and we have specific people for just doing that data analysis. And of course, we are trying to like incorporate more and more into our product to do that more out in an automated way, and we're improving statistic modules and all that stuff. But this is super important because again, we are kind of in the very top of the digitalization and optimization pyramid because we're using real-time localization to optimize with our system. You don't need to have to interact. We're using information a different way. The traditional way is like, and the state-of-the-art way is you have millions of real-time information, you collect them, you gather them into data lakes, you compromise them, and then you have 3 KPIs and somebody sitting in front of a dashboard, and it's like managing the shop floor, okay? And you have suitable solutions doing so, but the brain power, the computing power of a human is just limited, okay? He finds suitable solution because he has a lot of like know-how and knowledge and experience, but not the optimal solution. And this is where we do put in the step and say like, we're taking all the real-time information at all points of time to always finding the global optimum, okay? And this is just an approach that is totally different to what I've done before.
One of the things that I've heard from integrators is that, I don't know the exact number right now, but almost like 40 to 50% of new AMR or HEV installations fail during deployment, during commissioning. Do you see that this is something that is happening also with integration of fleets? And what do you think are the key problems or things that people should take into account when doing it to just be successful?
Yeah, my learning is that this is just missing knowledge, okay, and a very crazy way of gathering that knowledge, okay, because even all our big customers, they all had like 2 or 3 projects that really badly failed, and this shows me that the industry is not in a level professionalized that it could be at this point, and it's not as professionalized in other companies. I mean, these are huge change processes and huge installations and in other. I mean, nobody would ever like implement an ERP software without like having an integrator or hiring a consulting firm or something like that, okay? And in Intralogistics is still hands-on. They just do it. They buy the hardware. I was in the fair. And that's like I said, like they come into solutions where they have like 3 robots driving around, AMRs, super easy. And they say like, oh, I can do 3, I can do 100, but it's a totally different system. And that's why the industry in intralogistics is not on a professional level that other industries are on. And for example, in automotive, it's a very good example. I know that pretty much all the big OEMs, they have dedicated teams. For example, if they build a new body shop, they fly in there, they have a central team, they have knowledge, they fly in there, they build up the body shop, they do the commissioning, they have standard processes, bam, that's good, okay? You think they have like dedicated teams that fly in and do interlogistics automation? No. Like the logistic guy from the plant will look at stuff, they will buy stuff, and this is just the way it works. And we need more maturity, more professionalism in the industry there, even more. It's growing, like I said, but it's not there at the full level. And this is why so much fails, okay?
Automotive has adopted this interoperability with VDA 5050 and fleet management software. Other industries will probably are looking into this. My question is, why should AMR HV manufacturers become a partner, for example, of SYNAOS to implement VDA 5050 and be compatible with your software?
Well, I think they should be they should invest into VDA 5050 availability with their product, period, because I think the market is moving that direction, okay? They all have the dream of being the Apple of intralogistics, providing back-end software and hardware on a world-class level. Well, no. There is no company I know out there that is really the best in hardware and the best in software. There are some ambitious software solutions where they have hardware, but then they don't have all the hardware they need for the market, So you always have to integrate other suppliers. It's just not a game nobody can win, okay? So I would say build up your expertise in the field you are really like, your home ground, let me say it like this, okay? And for example, for the hardware supplier is your onboard software, okay? There are so many hardware suppliers out there that are not capable and don't have an own software stack, or have an own software stack that is super old, or which is not VDA 5050 compliant. And with those companies, I would say, like, invest into that. This is, as a challenge, already big enough for you and for other companies. Bring that into order, and then having a full package that can scale, that can produce plug and play with like back-end software, and you have a solution, then you can like compete on the market in the long term, okay? If you only have hardware, I mean, this is going to be solely hardware. This is commodity, okay? You really need the software with it, from like embedded software with it, and the process knowledge, and then you can integrate into bigger ecosystems and grow and stay in the market for a longer term. But there's going to be a lot of consolidation. I think this is already happening, and this will be brutal, okay? Because so many companies decided to build AGVs, and this is kind of something we are confronted with. This kind of killed us in projects as well, because what happened? I mean, they went out there in the market. They were like, and Germany is full of it, like really great engineers and machine builders, okay? And they said like, oh, my stable like train solution is not working anymore. I build AGVs. That can't be that difficult to build an AGV. And they're great engineers. They can build the first AGV, okay? But they have no process knowledge whatsoever. And then you get those companies into a project, you have tight schedules and nothing works, and then everything is bad. And this is how companies fail, for example, okay? And then for these guys, they build like one AGV, but they have no modular like kit system where they can integrate different solutions, different sizes and stuff. They just built an AGV. So there's going to be so much, like, it's going to be a bloodbath on the market. I'm so sure.
SYNAOS has developed a quite very good partnership network. One of the biggest names. Biggest
in the industry. Let me say, like, on the VDA 5050.
So we have huge names like QK, Continental, you name it.
Yeah.
If I was a company that I'm not still a partner, what would you tell them? Why should they join, and what do they need to join?
Yeah. First question, why should they join? Oh, let me answer the second question because it's way quicker. We have a standardized onboarding process. Okay, it's in 2 phases, 10 steps, where we give you an instant, you connect to it. We have automated testing. You go through it. I mean, we are the pros in the market doing that. Nobody integrates new hardware and new manufacturers as quick and as good as SYNAOS does. Okay, because we're out there, and we are really one of the single companies that never had own hardware. Okay, our whole software DNA is built to incorporate different types of hardware and different types of manufacturers. So there's nobody on the market. So yes, we have a standardized process. Contact us, and we will onboard you. Okay. And then the first question, why should they do it? And here's my answer, because I think there is no alternative. I'm totally convinced that there will be a separation between hardware and software. I don't see a company on the market that will integrate everything with one solution, software and hardware. Even the big players are struggling to do so. Yeah, they don't have own solutions. And if you want to have a business model that carries you not only 2 years in the hype cycle where everything is bought that's on the market, but over the next 5 or 10 or 20 years, you really have to find your portion of the cake you can deliver on the highest level. And that's, for the most players out there, is hardware with a good embedded software and a lot of process knowledge. This is something that has a value on the market, and from my understanding will stay on the market with value. And then you can, like, of course, play around, improve your your hardware, improve like your embedded software, put AI on it and put a vision on it, and there's so much innovation on the market. Do stuff like that. But to be compliant to a central fleet management solution is no option for me.
What is the culture necessary to build a company like SYNAOS?
The culture? Well, I think we really from the first day we had that vision to change how goods are produced and how things are transported within a perimeter, within a warehouse or factory. This is our vision from day one, doing that with software to really change an industry. Yeah, this is and I think this is something. Besides all struggles, I mean, building up a new company from scratch, having no customers, with COVID, with a war in Europe, having no customer base you can rely on, that was super, super tough, and there's ups and downs always. But having that clear vision and the fire to really change something and turning a big wheel, okay? What we are doing is turning a big wheel, okay? This is something that really, gets into your culture and gets people excited about working for you, okay? And hey, if our platform stops working, we have customers 2 or 3 minutes, their factories are stopping, okay? We are really doing something really, really crucial for the industry, okay?
Wolfgang, thank you very much for joining us. Hope to see you back soon and you can realize your vision.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
Thanks for listening to Intralogistics Insiders. Stay tuned for more insights and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite platform.